and welcome back to Revenge of the Plot Bunnies. I'm Kay Ann Lee, and today we have a special guest. She is a cookbook author and a chef. This is Stephanie McPherson. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. So excited to be here, Kenya. Thank you.
You're so welcome, and I never really realized how much of a radio voice you have.
Well, thank you. That's a huge compliment. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Where are you from originally, Stephanie?
I am from North Carolina, born and raised. My dad was with
Okay.
the state revenue department, so we moved all over North Carolina. Lived in Lillington for the first 10 years of my life. Then we moved to the Outer Banks, in which I'm headed to the Outer Banks this weekend for a bluegrass
Yeah.
festival. So freaking
Ooh.
excited getting to hang out with some childhood friends that are just so near and dear to me. And then we moved to Durham, and I graduated high school there. I moved to Chapel Hill after that, started college, but then finished college in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, coastal Carolina.
Mm.
Got a bachelor's in biology, and so I lived in Myrtle Beach almost as long as I have now lived here, back in North Carolina in the Lake Norman area.
Okay, that's fantastic. You are one of those rare born and raised North Carolinians that I've met since I've been here.
Yeah, where are you from?
I'm originally from Chicago.
Oh,
So,
oh, love
yeah.
Chicago.
Yes, yes, me too, me too. But I would love to know, you studied biology. What was your
Yes.
soul calling for as early as you can remember? Did you have a calling that you felt tugging at you?
Hilarious girl. So, like, okay, so I'm gonna encompass the whole story, but,
Yeah.
bachelor's in biology came about in my early 20s. I was in and out of college, thinking I was gonna do this in architecture, thinking I was gonna do that with child psychology, and then a good friend of mine was like, "Stephanie, he had his mother's, a really good friend of his mother was a pharmaceutical rep. And he's like, Stephanie, you should go, be a drug rep, be a pharmaceutical rep. I'm like, what's that? He described it. The description of the job was like, oh yeah, oh my god, yeah. So in doing research, biology was the perfect major to have before pursuing that career. Actually did not get into pharmaceutical sales. Did get into surgical equipment sales, medical device, was in the operating room for several years now, watching cardiothoracic open heart, selling all kinds of surgical tools, medical equipment. So I did have a real passion for being in the OR. However, pharmaceuticals at the end of the day, Kenya, was not in alignment with my core values of health and wellness. And as good of a drug rep as I would have been, it wasn't in alignment with my true purpose and passion and what I had been doing for myself, health and wellness wise. I'm not saying pharmaceutical drugs and surgery are not necessary, because in certain cases they absolutely are. But in my life, in my personal life, my day-to-day life, I was in the gym. I was actively, being intentional with how I fueled and, fueled my body in a very healthful way. And, it took a while of like literally being one of the top two chosen candidates, and over and over and over and over and over, not getting the job, being ascended the offer from this manager that was literally like leaning in towards me during interview processes, wanting to pull me on their team, and it just kept not happening. So I had to go, okay, well, that's out of alignment. And so my passion for cooking and started when I was a child, being in the kitchen with my grandma, making the breakfast biscuits, loving making jams and jellies and cakes and all the things. I was a big sweets fan back then, and there's just the passion for cooking and love of food started when I was 2-3 years old. And I remember my parents. I have two younger brothers, and on Monday night I got to stay up 30 minutes later. Tuesday night, Stan got to stay up 30 minutes later. And Wednesday night, Will got to stay up 30 minutes later after the other two had gone to bed. I always chose to cook something. I always chose to make something, food wise, I felt was delicious. And, in my early 20s is when I did start the journey to health and wellness, because I used to be able to eat anything I wanted and as much of it. And when I say that, I mean that to every ounce of that. That means I'd go to Pizza Inn buffet and I'd have, like, no lie, 12, 15 pizzas of pieces of pizza plus 4 or 5 pieces of dessert and, still was 100 pounds. And then all of a sudden, that wasn't the reality. So
Right.
I was dating this guy who was a big gym rat and had a regimented way in which he, 5 days a week was in the gym, and how he fueled his body, like tuna, grilled chicken, vegetables, really super clean. And I'm like complaining about what was going on with my body. This was my personal experience. And he's like, well, come to the gym with me. So I'm like, okay. So I dove deep into that health and wellness, into being physically fit, into being healthy, and learning about you know, nutritious, food that's good for the body. And, and so back then it was bland. I mean, it was bland food, but I was dedicated. And then I came across a subscription to Cooking Light magazine. And I
Mhm.
had a several year subscription to that magazine. And I taught myself how to make healthy food delicious. And that's where I thought my t-shirt would be high enough. D frickin' licious is all about healthy, good for you, scrumptiously delicious, mind blowing, flavor explosion in your mouth
Mhm.
experiences with food.
Yeah, I was on your cooking show a few
Yes.
years ago, and I still cook that gluten-free cod for me and my kids. It was so good. Yes.
Yeah, with that tartar sauce and
Yes.
the cocktail sauce we made. It was such an honor having you on my show and promoting your books and all the stuff that you do as well.
Thank you so much. It was
You're
such a
welcome.
blast. It was so much fun. I've always wanted to be on a cooking show. And you know what I love about what you said, and it resonates so deeply with me, and I tell this to people all the time, especially when people are like, "Man, I want to be like you. You're so inspiring." And they're like, "I don't like what I'm doing, but like what did you love to do as a kid? Let's start there." Especially when people are like, I have no idea what my calling is, no idea what I want to do. But like, there's something to it for the things that sparked us with joy as a child
Yes.
when we're our most authentic, like raw, vulnerable, innocent selves, where no
Mhm.
one's told us yet that you couldn't
Mhm.
do certain things. I feel like that's a good starting point. So I love that you
Abso
built that. Yes.
Abso-fa-ricken-lutely, girl. So, as I mentioned before, being in the kitchen with my grandmother at 2, 3 years old is what really started this
Mhm.
passion for food and love of flavor. And so, but also when I was a little kid. Okay, so what you just said is so in alignment with what lights you up, what excites you, what you find passion in. And maybe as you're a kid, you don't say passion, but it really is. You're experiencing something exciting around something you enjoy. So not only cooking, but I loved babies. Like when I was a kid, I loved babies. And Mama, oh my God, this is a hilarious story. Mama used to watch Donahue, and there was this woman in labor on the Donahue show having a baby. And afterwards, I had the concept of what a nursery was. I said, Mama, I said, I remember hearing the term OB doctor, and I said, I want to be an OB doc. I'm like 3 or 4 years old. I want to be an OB doctor, and she goes, oh, you want to deliver babies? I'm like, no, I wanna be in the room where they are after they're born. She goes, "Oh, you wanna be in the nursery." So one
Oh.
of my medical device sales positions that I held with Pilot Medical Products, one of the best people, Earl, that I worked for, was I was in the neonatal intensive care unit selling various products, for neonates. And as well, I played restaurant as a kid. I played
Mhm.
restaurant as a kid with my mother, and I loved cooking. So it's like at points in my life, I have been able to live out that which elates me and lights me up. And
Wow.
that's how I've always been. Is that just run towards life with open arms. Um,
Mhm.
and fortunately, I've been able to put myself in the alignment of creating, my heart's desires.
Mhm. I'm so happy to hear that, and I think it's really inspiring to hear that it is possible to try different things, and then you'll be
Mhm.
surprised by how these different things on your journey come full circle to where you're meant to be. So it's like I love sharing with people, like even when they're like, "Oh, I wasted all that time doing this,"
Yeah.
but then you kind of trace it back to like, what did you learn there? How was it applied?
Yes.
Like that is so powerful. And I
Yeah.
love that you got to look back at the huge grand scale and see like I was playing restaurant as a kid. Like I knew it. I knew it from early on. And that's such a privilege, and I think that it speaks to a lot of people's soul, because I think a lot of people do have fear of, you started off on this road and like, is it okay to
Hmm.
maybe take a detour or
Right.
try something else? It is totally okay, and it's never too late either.
Right. Never, never. As long as you're still alive, you still have time to do whatever it is lights you up. There's no
Yes,
excuses.
yes.
Whether it's as a job or, something that you're receiving financial abundance, or whether it's just a hobby, it's simply you can do that. Oh, I don't, so many people want to make excuses. I don't have time, or I don't, it's
Yeah.
like, quit making excuses and be intentional.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I call those excuses limiting beliefs. Every one of them. Just let's start writing them down and crossing them off why that's not true. Like
Yes,
the
girl.
top ones are usually, oh, the market's saturated. Oh, there's not enough positions for this. It's like not true, not true.
Hmm. Hmm.
No market is saturated enough. There's an audience, and there's an audience for literally everyone. Like I talk about this all the time. Like no matter what it is you want to do, like I see people cleaning rugs with millions of subscribers and like living an abundant life. Like that's their calling.
Absolutely.
That's what lights them up. There's an audience for everyone, especially in the age we're in now with all of these platforms that are just
Hmm.
begging us to share our souls and our gifts.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. 100%. Um, it's so many people will, you know, create that excuse, because the human condition is to fear success. Because when you start playing at that successful level, then you got to keep moving up. You got to keep moving up. You got to keep,
Mhm.
and it's like quit thinking about 10 miles down the road. Think about the 5 inches in front of your face. What can the
Yeah.
5 inches in front of your face bring about that's going to create joy, that's going to create, fulfillment. At the end of the day,
Mhm.
it's about feeling and being fulfilled.
Yes, I agree with you. It is so easy to get wrapped up in projecting what our future will be, but our most powerful point is right now in the
Yes.
present.
Hmm.
So staying grounded and being intentional creates that future. So yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I also want to know a little bit about, so you started following your calling and you created Duh for Licious. And what has that journey been like for you? Like all of the guests you
Hilarious.
have. Yeah.
When I say hilarious, I don't mean like ha ha at hilarious. I mean, like, so if you can't tell by now, I have a humongous, like, I have this big sense of humor. What another thing that lights me up and inspires me is laughter. If and I've always said this, I've said this for a very, very long time. Riveting conversations like this that I'm having with you light me up. You stimulate me
Mhm.
intellectually, or you make me laugh, and I'm addicted to you. So this is my cookbook. D
Beautiful.
Licious. Healthy is delicious. And you'll see my, like, where is it? Stephanie. Okay, there's a
Mhm.
lag. Okay, right there.
Mhm.
Stephanie. One of my best soulmate girlfriends gave me that nickname one day. This was in the 90s. She goes, "Your name isn't Stephanie. It's Stephanie, because you're so funny." I have, even as a child, I remember this. I am attuned, my antenna, my radio dials are attuned to laughter, that which makes me laugh out loud. That's capital L, capital O, capital L, by the way, y'all. It's not LOL, because you are laughing out loud. But anyway, so so I want to be on the Food Network, and I've wanted to be on the Food Network since I saw it on the living room TV in 1997 or 1996. It's one of those 2 years, and I'm like, I mean, I was just stopped dead in my track when I on my tracks when I saw the Food Network. I was like, And I literally at that point, I said, okay, because I was in my biology career or my biology, getting my biology degree. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to graduate college. I'm going to go into pharmaceutical sales and I'm going to surgical equipment sales because I had, I'd seen an aneurysm operation. Oh my God, I want to be in the OR. I'm going to have my own restaurant one day and I'm going to be hosting cooking shows for the Food Network one day. Bam, 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 bam. So a few years ago, after I became certified as a health coach through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, I'd seen, is cursing allowed on your show?
I haven't thought about that. Sure.
Okay.
I'm not
So, well,
sure.
the story involves curse words. So, you've ever seen the movie
Okay.
Snatch?
Yes, I
The movie
have. Yes,
Snatch.
I
Okay.
have. Love it.
It's one of my favorite movies. It's just, and for somebody with ADD like myself, it's like each scene is no longer than about 2 minutes, and it's like 2 minutes of hilarious shit talking, 2 minutes of hilarious shit talking. Next scene, same thing. Well, there's a scene in quite the beginning of the movie where Turkish wants Tommy to buy him a caravan off of a group of pikeys, which are gypsies, which are known to swindle you. And at least in this movie, they speak in a way that where you can't really understand them, so they can get over on you. And Brad Pitt plays the head pikey Mickey in this character. I mean, this movie. So Tommy goes out with this big 400-pound bare knuckle boxer to go buy this caravan, thinking it's going to intimidate them from swindling them. Well, winds up, they get swindled. Mickey, Brad Pitt, little tiny Brad Pitt, knocks out this 400-pound bare knuckle boxer in one swoop. Well, now they don't have a lot of men have bet on this upcoming fight, and they bet on Gorgeous George. His name is Gorgeous George. And well, now Gorgeous George ain't going to be fighting. He ain't dead, but he ain't going to be fighting. So now Turkish and Tommy have got to go tell Bricktop that they lost Gorgeous George. And this is, they're scared to death. And so Turkish goes in, he's like, Bricktop's like, what's going on? He goes, well, we lost Gorgeous George. And Bricktop's like, well, where'd you lose him? It's not as though he's a set of fucking car keys, and it's not as though he's inconspicuous now, is it? Like that scene and that the vernacular, the inconspicuous always imprinted itself. And I was just like, and I'd seen the movie probably for the 500 to 1,000th time. And I'm driving to the gym and I'm amped up on caffeine and I'm thinking about my cooking show. And I remembered the scene from the evening before that I'd seen over and over and over and over, one of my favorite scenes. And out of my mouth I went, inconspicuous. I went, Deefa, rickin' oh my God, that's cool. So that's how that day I came home that afternoon, got myself all dolled up. Salmon was just a baby. And I put my iPhone in my little case. I didn't go, oh, just like what you were just saying earlier about how people will make excuses for not starting something because everything's not perfect. Well, my ass didn't wait for everything to be perfect, because it surely wasn't. I took my little iPhone, I hit record, and it was facing me, and I made my delicious, scrumptious kale salad. 17-minute video. Didn't know anything about editing. It had 1,800 views in a couple days. All my friends like, oh my God, this is hilarious. Salmon was in it. I was like, everybody meet Salmon. I'm dancing, and it was all about this fun, silly show the importance of it was to inspire you to see that healthy food is delicious, and for you to be entertained enough to watch and then learn and then go, oh, I'm gonna make choices. I'm gonna make her food. Now I published my cookbook almost 2 years ago, and I'm starting a healthy chef meal prep business in the coming months. That's a lot of hard work going into that, but it's in the process of falling into place.
Beautiful.
And I have this heart pounding passion for healthy food, healthy mindset, healthy, fulfilling, intentional life.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so beautiful, and I really truly appreciate you sharing your experience, because I've found that exactly like you said, like, we have this need and this desire to be perfect, but we'll see that as time goes on, people are really gravitating toward the raw, the authentic, the not
Yes.
hyper produced. Like the days where I'm like, I'm gonna do a full face, I'm gonna like put on my best outfit, get the set together, and I make a video. Like people are like, that was great. But when I just get a divine inspiration and get my phone and barely brush my hair, those are the ones that go viral. And I tell people
Mhm.
all the time, like especially like what is it? Gen Z, millennials, is it Gen
Yeah.
X?
J yeah,
They
one of
are,
those.
yeah, one of those is either flipped with the Z and the X. I don't remember, but the ones after the millennials, like they are truly um almost setting the tone for how we
Mhm,
create, especially like
mhm.
social media content. Like they are really thirsty for people who are just like right from the heart, not scripted, not
Right.
overproduced, just like truly raw and authentic. And I appreciate that so much. And you saw that you saw the benefits that came from that. Like
Mhm.
people were like, this is great. Like, and that's you. So that's what
Yeah.
called in tribe.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and from watching I'm obsessed with the Food Network. I watch it like there's pretty much nothing else on TV, and
Mhm.
from watching it for, 20 plus years, and, so the first video wasn't edited, but then I learned how to edit an iMovie and
Yeah.
add video effects with Videorama. By the time you would come on my show within, like, I think you were on within the 2nd year, it was
Mhm.
like, I could edit and cut in screenshots of your book and then zoom in and and it did become more of uh, a better to watch piece.
Yes.
So, but all with my thumbs, all with my
Yes.
thumbs. That's the editing.
Exactly. Like if anyone could take anything away from it, it's like, don't wait. Don't wait till you have the best Canon camera and the best boom mic. Like just do it. And
Right.
the more you produce, the better it'll get. And you'll already start growing that following and they'll grow and evolve with you, which is
Hmm.
so beautiful. So beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I love
Thank
hearing
you.
the inception of your show, and how was it like writing the cookbook? Like what was that experience like for you?
It was really exciting. I had had several of my recipes, and this is a funny story too. I'd had several of my recipes that I had photographs of, and I had already put them in a PDF file. And this is funny because, but they weren't great pictures. And I was like, one of these days I'm gonna put this all together in a cookbook. Well, we were in Charleston, South Carolina. We were on a carriage ride, and I was taking pictures, and I was about to take a picture of this house and the horse started to go and it threw me back a little bit and there was an angle in which at that moment that the picture was taken and it looked like professional and I'm like, so
Mm.
that's when I learned how to come in like this and take my pictures of my food and I mean they look phenomenal. I mean maybe not that it's perfect but I mean like I learned just like here's a picture of my mushroom burger that's
Sounds
absolutely not like
delicious.
scrumptious. And then there's also screenshots of my from my cooking show. There's screenshots from
Mm.
my cooking show. Because again, it's my cooking. This is about fun and funny. I'm trying to find. We do this ski trip. We did it for several years in a row, and oh my God! So there, we're making this chili. We're all in onesies,
Aw,
you know,
I think I've
and
seen that. I think I've seen that video.
yes. And then this one, we were all in 80s. Okay, so there's two, like, we were making some Christmas. We're all, and then
Wow.
this is the funniest one. Okay, healthier alcoholic drink. And we're all in 80s.
Alcoholic. I love
We're
your play
all
on
at
words.
that same ski house
Yes.
and we did an episode and that's a screenshot as I'm watching the video and so there's it's a fun cookbook and of
Yeah.
course I tell the snatch story in it of how
Mhm.
Deefericulicious started.
That's perfect because it truly encapsulates your unique energy. You're not trying to be like anyone
No,
else. And that's what I love about you. And that's what's so inspiring. And I hope everyone just takes that, absorbs it, like, be the best you.
thank you. Absolute thank you for saying that. You be the youest version of you, not
Mhm.
measuring yourself against anyone else. It's like you know because your US version could be something completely in alignment with something that's so much greater. You never know what every person on the planet has that unique that their uniqueness and bringing that to the world and it's gift. It's gift to everyone for you to be you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell people all the time, like we think about our concept of a healer and we think that it's only a doctor or,
Right.
energy healer, but anything that people put their heart and soul into, the dancers of the world, the singers of the world whose music is so pure that it brings tears to your eyes, the chefs who cook and put that love into it. These are healers. The beautician who you sit
Yeah.
down and you do your hair and then they spin you around. You're like a new person. These are
Yeah.
all healers. And I love that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You're
I'm
welcome.
so excited for you. And I really cannot wait because I have no doubt that you will get Food Network or something better.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Katie bar the door.
Yes, I want to be on Bobby Flay show. I don't care which one. He has like a dozen, a million. But yeah, I would love to be on Bobby Flay.
Beat beat Bobby Flay. You beat Bobby
Any
Flay?
of them. Any of them,
I'm a
yeah.
yeah, I'm about to they're now casting for season 38.
Oh, yes, girl. I am going to be pulling for you. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Tell us where we can buy your book, where we can follow you, find your show.
Yes, absolutely. So the easiest way is healthychefsteph.com.
Perfect.
healthychefsteph.com. That's where the cooking show is. That's where I used to have a podcast called Empowered Conversations. That's where I have like free downloadables about being your best self and little like daily things that you can do that show self-love and self-worth and value. You can get my cookbook. The cookbook is like the first thing that shows up on my healthychefsteph.com page. So yeah, it's all there, y'all.
Perfect. Everyone, please show her some love. Go get the cookbook. Check out all of her things. And we're so grateful to have you on today. Thank you so much for joining us. And I definitely look forward to having you on again.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you,
You're
Kenya. It was
so
such an honor
welcome.
to be here.
Thank you guys. And thank you, Stephanie. Make sure you guys rate and follow. And we'll see you next time on Revenge of the Plot Bunnies.